Metro Manila marks 1 year since the region was placed under a strict community quarantine due to COVID-19. The lockdown took effect on March 15, 2020, prohibiting over 12 million residents to travel in and out of the country's economic and political center for a month. How has public transportation changed since then? We now speak to Transportation Assistant Secretary Steve Pastor. Good morning, ASEC. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Ma'am May, and good morning to all your viewers.
ASEC, it has been a year since the lockdown. Now, how has the pandemic and the quarantine restrictions affected the transportation sector?
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has generally affected everyone, including all public transport stakeholders, drivers, operators, and every commuter alike, are relying heavily on public transportation to work significantly, but was affected, of course, of the pandemic, especially during the suspension of public transportation last year.
ASEC, how many PUV drivers and operators were affected? And do you have the figures? Tsaka, have we provided them enough assistance?
Yes, as I've said, almost everyone involved in the transportation sector has been affected by the onslaught of the pandemic. But the Department of Transportation and our attached agencies have immediately acknowledged these challenges and acted accordingly through intervention programs. If I may discuss the programs for the road transport, we have what we call the service contracting program, where we conceptualize to provide high-quality road-based public transportation while providing a temporary livelihood to displaced workers in the transportation industry. How it works, ma'am, is that the PUV operation expenses are partially subsidized by the government by providing additional profit based on kilometer run of each public utility vehicle. If I may add, this program was funded under Bayanihan 2 and still is still a continuing program at this point in time. Another program of the department is that we provided the one-time cash subsidies, which were distributed to assist critically impacted businesses in the transportation industry, especially those who have yet to resume operations back then. The cash subsidy more or less amounts to 6,500 pesos.
ASEC, what is the current public transportation capacity now? And will you be reducing that amid the rising COVID cases? ASEC? Okay, we're trying to get the connection back to Transportation Assistant Secretary Steve Pastor. We are talking about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic 1 year since the lockdown on the transportation sector. Is ASEC Pastor still on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ASEC. Now, I was asking you about the current public transport capacity, and will you be reducing that amid the rising COVID cases?
Well, right now we are observing the one seat apart rule to in our public transportation, particularly in the road transport. We intend to maintain it at this point in time, supposing that, of course, we are to implement it. We are to implement the 7 commandments much more stricter, in the sense that we are observing a higher number of COVID cases at this point in time.
ASEC, let's talk about the viral video that we reported about the disinfection being done at the MRT. What are the disinfection protocols in place, and what did you see in that video? Do you think these were not followed?
Yes, we saw the video over the weekend, and DOTR and MRT3 management were called upon by netizens after a viral video circulated on social media. We observed as well that the cleaners were hastily and playfully disinfecting one of the line trains, but this has been addressed by the MRT3 management as well as the maintenance provider, Sumitomo MHI TSP, which led to the immediate relief of the two cleaning staffers. And I think they will also pursue administrative liability against these two individuals.
Thank you for your time, Assistant Secretary of the Transportation Department, Steve Pastor. Now let's talk to Transport Group Piston. We are joined by Piston President Modi Floranda. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, lalo sa mga staff ng CNN.
Sir, paano na po naapektuhan ng pandemic ang mga driver at operator? Kakausap ko lang po kay Transport ASEC, Steve Pastor. Sabi po niya lahat po sa hanay ninyo naapektuhan.
Mula po nung nagdeklara ng lockdown si Pangulong Duterte noong March 15 ng 2020, ay tuloy-tuloy po ng lockdown din ang kabuhayan ng mga driver at mga operator, sapagkat hanggang sa ngayon po ay talagang dumadanas ng paghihirap nga ang hanin na transportasyon. Bagamat tayo po ay nakakabiyahe na, pero ito po ay limitado pa rin sa mga lehitimong mga ruta. At ang isang nagpapahirap po sa amin ay hindi kinikilala ng LTFRB mismo yung mga prangkisa ng mga jeepney, dahil kung wala po kaming QR code ay hindi po kami pinapayagan. Kaya ito po yung isang nakakapagpahirapan lalo sa kalagayan ng sektor ng transportasyon. Kung usapin po nung paano pa pangangalagaan ng mga pasahero at mga driver, ay tayo po ay tiniyak po natin yung usapin po ng kalusugan, kahit naglagay nga po tayo ng mga divider sa loob po ng ating mga sasakyan, sa ating mga jeepney, para tiyakin yung kaligtasan ng ating mga pasahero.
Sabi po ng Transportation Department po kanina, may livelihood assistance po at cash assistance na ibinigay naman po sa inyong sa transport sector, ano po. Pero meron po bang hindi nakatanggap ng ayuda mula sa gobyerno at ilan po sila?
Pag tiningnan po natin, yung po sinasabi po nilang ayuda ay hindi naman talaga halos natanggap ito ng malaking bilang ng mga driver at mga operator, dahil kung sa batay po sa mismong datos po ng DSWD ay halos umaabot pa lamang po ng 49,000 na transport sector ang nabigyan nila ng ayuda batay ito sa kanilang mismong inilabas na datos. Ay pag tiningnan po natin ay dito pa lamang sa National Capital Region ay halos umaabot po tayo ng 200,000 na mga driver at mga operator, at umaabot po tayo ng 150,000 na mga operator sa buong bansa at 600,000 na mga driver ng mga jeepney. Malaking bahagi ang hindi pa ho nakakatanggap ng sinasabi pong tulong o ayuda ng ating pamahalaan o ng LTFRB. Dito po sa unang sinasabi nila na sunod-sunod yung kanilang mga tulong. Ang isa po rito na sumasalamin po rito, ma'am, ay yung patuloy na nakikita nating hanggang sa ngayon ay namamalimos yung ating mga kapatid sa hanapbuhay, sapagkat sila mismo ay hindi nakakatanggap ng tulong mula sa LTFRB o sa gobyerno.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Piston President Modi Floranda. Thank you for your time, sir.